Welcome to the Inspiring Communities journey into our death bloom. Hailing from Shubuktuk, Halifax, Mi'kma'ki, and Nova Scotia, we're a systems change nonprofit that has been responding to an ecosystem change, and we are basically seeding, birthing new initiatives into Nova Scotia in response to different conditions. So this is our journey, our conversation into systems change, and you're an active viewer of it. I'm Jocelyn Lee, the Executive Director of Inspiring Communities. I am here as the narrator and death doula for this organization, and I have here Des Ong, who's our communication strategist. Curious to hear about your story from the beginning.
So I started as a participant at the Northside Changemakers program. So at that time, we are supported by Inspiring Communities through Northside Rising at that time, where we were supported with creating prototypes, giving us proper foundations and support for us to create prototypes or small projects that will help create positive impact in our communities.
So in essence, you're the storyteller and one of the origin stories of the Changemakers program, in which we are now incubating around other changemakers in the organization, all of which are seeding initiatives and becoming their own entities outside of Inspiring Communities. And what is interesting now, which is different than what we did in the past, is that we're centering around specifically Black, Indigenous, and people of color, showing up for their communities and championing and creating solutions for a multitude of different problems that occur in community, whether it's housing or food insecurity, civic engagement, you name it, they're doing it. This is to highlight each initiative, but more specifically, the reason why we have Des and myself here is to demonstrate that in this narrative, while we are showcasing Black and Indigenous initiatives, we ourselves are people of color, and myself, I can speak that I'm a descendant of newcomers and born in Canada, while Des, your experience is
New immigrant newcomer in Canada as well. Yeah.
And it's important during this conversation about truth and reconciliation and the call for action around many different items that as newcomer/settler dynamics, that we are also treaty folk. And so in response to this, we're showing up for our brothers and sisters and siblings as people of color to help champion their causes, but just as much is important to us. From 2021 to 2023, Inspiring Communities underwent quite a bit of leadership transformation, where the majority of incoming leadership was BIPOC. And so this ultimately led to a more intersectional identities across the organization in Nova Scotia. And it made room for Inspiring Communities to look at incubating and capacity building from the individual standpoint, from the change maker, and how community rallies around the change maker to elevate the cause.
Inspired Communities have been supporting change makers from the very start. It's been really more and more intentional over the years too, what I'm seeing, and that leads again to what you're saying, that it's uplifting the communities that needs it the most.
Yeah. Basically, we had built momentum in community to a point where all of the communities that we were trying to connect and engage with, the African Solution, Black and Indigenous communities, were finally reached, just so that there's like a base level of trust. But that's when all operational funding got cut. And so whether it's the political shift, whether it's the financial economic conditions that is what it is this year, 2024, that everybody is aware of. We had the opportunity to either keep the shell of an organization alive, but with absolutely no substance, or we had the option to continue on communities' dreams and aspirations to move forward with their work and projects that actually better everyone's lives. We decided there was this container, this vessel of inspiring communities is not the way to move forward. We actually entered a retreat as a collective to reflect on narrowing down the scope of the work and community. And we decided, upon looking at this list of work that we've been doing, that there was nothing that we could cut out. There was nothing to reduce. So this actually spurred on the conversation about, well, what container, what is the vehicle that will take us to the next step in community?
And still support that same vision of supporting the Black, Indigenous communities as well.
Yeah.
When I came to Canada, I don't have anyone, no resources, nothing. And the Changemakers program in the North Side actually helped me create that foundation and that confidence that even as someone who's very new to Canada, who's a racialized person who doesn't have access to anything, the program helped me create that foundation and support. Personally, for me in Cape Breton, I'm still doing supporting others who are like me, other newcomers, other immigrants who are like me, who also need support. So it's kind of like an ongoing process, an ongoing journey that it's like good to see. We are still building on that momentum where it's not only readiness, but really being more intentional on who are we kind of serving and who are we supporting in the communities we are in. Good to see that from the start and up to now, yeah.
Joining us, KJ Conyers-Steed, the Director of Strategic Initiatives and Partnerships at Inspiring Communities.
Inspiring Communities started with an idea around evaluating impact. And the evolution of it now is, how do we implement impact? And I think that's the baton that's being passed on from Inspiring Communities to Future Civics. Is we've done a lot of good work around understanding what is impact. Let's try it out and test it. And I think that's kind of where we are now. And that's kind of the beauty of the seeding that we're doing, is we have proven that equity can happen in innovation. Now it's the time to show it.
I think Inspiring Communities created a very unique environment, actually stemming from our predecessor, Louise Dongo. Giving you your flowers, tipping my hat for you, to say that she created an environment that really welcomed feedback on all levels of the organization, which allowed every single staff member, who was all from different backgrounds, speak up and provide feedback and provide perspective on making changes to not just the organization, but our approach. And I think that's why we've kind of accelerated from our failures and successes to now failing really well, to say goodbye to Inspiring Communities. Here are the new forms of transformative justice vehicles that you can choose from to light the way in communities so that people can live well and happy.
We've created this really unique social innovation lab, incubator, accelerator, as we're like closing down an organization at the same time. It feels like we're closing, but also building at the same time, which is just a really beautiful thing to see.